I'm also going to do a backup recording on over here. And where is it? Okay, I'm going to backup record here onto this computer or onto this computer. There we go. Good. Okay, good. Okay. So welcome everybody. I see we have some new faces here. Claudia, how you doing? Claudia's been already, you know, she's been on our webinars before, and we just, what happened? We just lost one person. So welcome everybody. Oh, hang on, I can hear myself.
Hi.
I have some faces here. Claudia, how you doing? Claudia's
I got YouTube. Nice to meet you.
Been on our webinars and I am hearing myself. Hold on one second. Where did it? Where is it? Everybody. Oh, hang on, I can hear myself.
Hi.
I have some faces here. Claudia, how you doing? I got YouTube.
Nice to meet you.
There it is. Good. And I am hearing myself. Good. I just got rid of that. I got rid of myself there. Okay, good. All right. Okay, so Claudia, she's from you're in Germany, right?
Yes, I live in in Germany, but I'm from Mexico. I'm really sorry because I was not another webinar, but I was really sick. Sorry, crank is in German. My boss was no voice. It's not Corona, but I was really sick.
Well, that's good. Very good. Well, welcome. And we have Moshe here, Moshe Davidow. Hey, Moshe, how you doing? You can unmute yourself. Yeah, you got to unmute yourself. Otherwise, you're looking like one of those kung fu movies, you know, where the mouth moves and then you get the sound later.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Welcome.
I'm used to doing all the talking.
I think that's why that mute button's so good, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then we have Shachar over here. Hey, Shach, how you doing? All right. So, well, I want to introduce you to, this is a little different because we've been usually having Shane on, but we have the honor of having John DiJulius. He was actually on the CX Success Summit. He was the first speaker on that, I believe, when we did the master classes, and that was great. John has an amazing point of view. He's got a great backstory, and he built himself up a great business based on customer service. And that's how you started with those hair salons, right? Is that what it was, John?
That's correct. Yes,
yeah.
Still have them. I'm not involved in them, but I still own them.
Yeah, it was you and your wife, right? Is that, if I recall correctly?
Yeah, very good memory.
Yeah, they learned a lot from that experience, from that there. I think that's what launched you into this, into your career here. Is that you had such a, you know, you wanted to differentiate yourself, and you did it through service. And then John, he started the service revolution. You know, it's good. We need a service revolution out there. And he's the chief revolution officer. So that means we're in good hands. You know, the whole idea, folks, is for us to make the world a pleasure to do business with, you know, and that this has been a challenge as being a customer myself at large. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Welcome. You can unmute yourself. Okay.
There we go. Abram, how we doing?
Thank God. I'm glad to see you here.
Yeah, you know, I've tried many times to jump into these, and appreciate your flexibility. So glad I was able to finally make this work.
Wonderful. Well, you have not met John yet. I was just introducing John. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let John introduce John because he'll do a better job than I can. And I'm just going to go on mute here. And John, take it away. But before we do that, though, if you have any questions, anybody here has questions, just go ahead and type them into the chat, or just say, I've got a question, raise your hand, however you want to do to get our attention. And then when John has the time after he finishes whatever he's going to say, then we'll go ahead. You have any ideas, comments? This is about interaction. This is about sharing. This is about being curious and learning together. So John, take it away.
Thank you, Abraham. Hello, everyone. I don't like introducing myself, so I just, own the DiJulius Group. It's a customer service consulting firm. We work with some amazing companies like the Ritz-Carlton and Harley Davidson and Starbucks and many more. So written 5 books on customer service, And today's presentation is on my most recent that came out at the beginning of the year, the relationship economy. And if it's all right with you, I'm just going to jump in and I'll take as many questions you have at the end. So today's illiterate are those who have an inability to make a meaningful connection with others. There's a seismic shift happening in business. Technology is changing the world, not always for the better. For all the benefits it's bringing to business, it's coming at a significant cost. And that cost is weaker human relationships are vital to customer experience, employee experiences, and personal happiness. And COVID and the pandemic has only, multiplied that times 10. So I love to ask this question. The last sheet, you'll be able to slide. I'll tell you how to get my slides. This also tells you if you want to write down. You go to www.jdj.click and you'll answer this question and you'll get every slide sent to your inbox. But for now, I'm going to ask this question here. If you're going to build a world-class customer service company, any organization, restaurant, B2B, manufacturing, hot dog stand, which is more important? A, the hiring, or B, the training? Now I'm going to launch a poll and you're going to get to vote. Before I launch it, I'm going to tell you the obvious answer is both. Okay, I mean, absolutely cannot be a world-class customer service organization if you don't do both extremely well. It's like asking you if you're going to be in the best physical shape of your life, which is more important, your diet or your exercise? Well, both. You can't be in the best physical shape of your life if you don't do both. But for this question, I am going to ask you to give me 1 extra percent, 51%. So let me launch this poll and then you could answer it. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Select which one. There's no wrong answer. Anybody else want to answer? Wow. First time I've ever gotten this. I'm going to show it, share results, and it's 50-50. That's pretty impressive, which is fair, but I am going to go with B. So you A's, don't get mad at me. I absolutely think hiring is critical. I've written chapters and chapters. To me, hiring is building that 30-foot high fence with barbed wire on it around your culture, right? You're not for everyone. However, I love to ask this question: do we really think companies like Disney's and Ritz-Carlton's of the world found 50,000 cast members born to serve? I don't think there's 500 human beings walking planet Earth born to serve. This is what Walt himself said. We don't put our people in Disney. We put Disney in our people. I love that, right? So you're a leader of an organization, own that quote, change Disney to your company, but I'm going to share with you how you put your company, your brand in your people. Year 2000, okay, 20 years ago exactly, of the companies that made the prestigious Fortune 500, 52% are gone today. And that was as of the end of last year. I got to look up and see what that is, post-pandemic or, during pandemic. Return on experience, okay? There's an 11-year study done by Watermark Consulting Group comparing customer experience leaders to customer experience laggards and the S&P 500. And it went from 2008 to 2019, which obviously, at least in the US, took into consideration the Great Recession and the Great Economic Boom. And here's what they found. Customer experience laggards, the bottom 20% in their industry and customer experience, had a 63% return, while the S&P 500 had a 138% return during that same time frame. 219% better than the customer experience laggards. And the top 10% customer experience leaders in every industry had 183% return, which was 133% better than the S&P 500 and a 300% better than the customer experience laggards. Now, while that's great, let's just isolate it to the Great Recession of 2007 and 2009. And you see the customer experience laggards had a negative 57% return. S&P 500 had a negative 16%, while the customer experience laggards had a 6.1 positive. While they were affected, they were significantly less affected. So customer experience is your single biggest competitive advantage in any economy. The robots are coming. By 2025, there will be more machines in the workforce than human beings. AI will have the ability to do every job currently being done by humans, from lawyers to judges, nurses to doctors, driving to construction. And something that someone just shared with me was that they have an artificial intelligence brothel. Yeah, I'm not judging. I'm not recommending. I'm just reporting. I mean, it literally, artificial intelligence can replace everything we do. The commoditization of technology, right? We have to be there. I love technology, and technology is not the enemy. However, if technology is your only competitive advantage, you're in serious trouble, right? 10, 15 years ago, if you came out with an innovation that could give you a 12 to 18 month competitive advantage. Today, technology innovation might give you 3 weeks to 3 months. And I love showing this. These are Lyft and Uber in black and white. It's pretty impossible to tell which is which, right? Until you turn it into color. But it just shows you anything your competitor comes out with or anything you come out can be replicated if it's only technology. So as I said, technology is not the enemy. Using it to eliminate the human experiences. And here's a great example of this. Canada has a wireless company, and they wanted to get all their customers to start using their self-service kiosks and stop calling in, to the point where they started charging you if you called in. They would charge $10 to your account if you had to call in and speak to someone. That really pissed off a lot of their customers, right? We have people that, can't get their answers or are technologically challenged, maybe of a certain age, whatever that may mean. But that's where, technology is not the enemy. Forcing your customers to use it is. We're all living in the touchscreen age, and that's not generational specific. I know we all love to beat up on millennials, which I don't understand because most of us are the ones that raised them, right? But the touchscreen age is we have grandparents on devices and social media, and we have 6-year-olds. And as a result, every single generation has a significant decline in people skills than they had 10 or 15 years ago. They have found that because of this, we have a lack of relationships. Okay. And a lack of relationships has the same negative side effects as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So if you are a smoker, I hope you have a lot of relationships because you'd be in real trouble, right? And then there's a real term called digital dementia. Doctors have found that heavy user of digital devices, their brain scans are similar to than people that suffered brain injuries. So whether you got to take stock or you got to take this home and show it to your teenagers, it's a real thing. Simon Sinek said, everything you want, you can have instantaneously today, except job satisfaction and strength of relationship. There ain't no app for that. Again, we tend to focus on the millennial generation. And this question asks, is social isolation a millennial problem? Well, survey says 22% of millennials say they have no friends, 30% feel lonely, and 33% of millennials say they have no best friends. Let's think about that. All right. I mean, that's horrific, right? I remember when I was, in my 20s, that was my heyday of socializing and friendships and all those things. However, every generation is reporting they're at their all-time loneliness. The happiest people are the ones with the most meaningful relationships, and they live longer. Also, as a result of the digital age, leaders are getting younger. 40% of employees have a boss that's younger than them. So, and that number is going up drastically because of our reliance on digital intelligence. Okay, we have leaders with lower emotional intelligence. That's taken us decades to cultivate. We can't expect these younger generations to microwave emotional intelligence. So there is a serious cost in the decline of people's skills, and it is brand loyalty, from customers to employees to the community. So I want to recap. We have a whole relationship disadvantaged generation. The millennials and Zoomers. And again, this is not to pick on just them, but focusing on them. Why? Because they grew up in the digital age, and no fault to their own. There is a decline in people skills. Businesses are turning out high-tech, no-touch experiences. We have younger leaders, and we have a lack of relationship building training in schools, at home, and in businesses. PwC came out with a great report. It was called Experience is Everything. And in the report, they showed the top 11 drivers of what drives customers away. Loyal customers, what turns them off. And of the top 11, the top 4 had all to do with employee attitude and performance, or a lack of training. And I'm not beating up the employee, I'm beating up the company. Right? Unknowledgeable employees, unfriendly service, and bad employee attitudes. That's what's driving our customers away. And that's what, as leaders, we can control. So make no mistake about it. The lack of social skills our society has is the problem of business leaders to solve. COVID is not changing the future, it's accelerating. The human need for connection and community is embedded in our DNA. And as a result of both the digital age and the pandemic, we are starving for relationships like never before. None of us exists in isolation. Healthy, happy communities rely on interdependence of their members. We are in this together. And as we've been forced to practice social distancing during the past year, people have realized how much they crave human connection. Not being able to dine with friends, see family members who don't live with us, or interact with coworkers has put a strain on the human spirit. So I want to share some really cool best practices that I have learned recently. The first one is a video by Adrienne Bankert. She's actually speaking at our Customer Service Revolution. She is she works on Good Morning Today as their chief correspondent. And she just wrote a book on our superhuman power, our hidden superhuman power, kindness. And I love this message.
Hey, this is Adrienne. I just wanted to let you know you're amazing. I look forward to seeing your face soon. This is your reminder that you're amazing, you're beautiful, you're loved, you're memorable, you're valuable, you're worthy, you're so irreplaceable, and I can't wait to see your face. Mwah. It's just like calling just because, but many times we're working harder in our homes than we would when we're at the office. And I found a lot of people don't have time for a 30-minute phone call. What I did was I came up with a way to tell people this is a check-in, I'm thinking about you, and I wish the best for you without just texting, stay safe out there. Thank you for being you, Derek. Thank you for the sweet message. Thank you for watching GMA and having enough time to send me a message.
So you get it. So I just read her book, or I actually listened to it, and Your Hidden Superpower, Kindness by Adrienne Bankert. I recommend it. But as a result, what I did with this book, and I recommend to anyone, is don't read it all at once. right? Like I love consuming books like in a week, 2 weeks, but I found like I listened to this book over the course of probably 3 weeks on purpose because it made me be kinder more often instead of inhaling it and then having it wear off in 3 weeks. So I'll show you a couple of videos just literally from reading it in her book that I sent to, you know, this, I think this is to my son, instead of just texting him.
Hey Monica, thanks for an amazing haircut, an amazing experience. You were the best part of my day. I just really appreciate you and all you've been through and how amazing you are, and amazing employee, leader, role model.
That was actually to my hairdresser who just cut my hair, who works for me. This one's to my son.
Hey buddy, just want to tell you I miss you. Hope you're having a good day. And I hope I see you soon. I haven't seen you in a while. Hopefully you're coming home soon. I don't know if you're coming home before Chautauqua. But I also wanted to buy you lunch today, so I'm Venmoing you some money. It just has to be a healthy lunch. All right? Love you. Have a great day.
So I did this to a lot of people, and I'm trying to, you know, build this into my daily plan instead of texting Abraham, hey, thanks, it was great. You know, send him a video, you know, and it's just, especially in the times we're in right now, these things go a long way to our employees, to our loved ones, to our clients. So we have to, as business leaders, marry the digital with the human interaction. And that's what brings us to the relationship economy, where the primary currency is the emotional connections made with customers, employees, and vendors that result in your organization becoming the brand people can't live without, which makes price irrelevant. That's what we do. We help make price irrelevant. Making price irrelevant doesn't mean you can raise your prices, you know, even 20% today and not lose customers. What it does mean is, based on the experience your brand consistently delivers, your customers have no idea what your competition charges. So think about who you're loyal to and who you're not. I've driven 3 extra miles to save 50 cents on something, not realizing I just lost in that exchange. But there's also a few businesses I'm so loyal to that I'd recommend them to you if the topic came up. And if you say, well, how much do they charge? Because mine charges, I wouldn't even know, right? Because I'm not price shopping them. I'm so loyal. Discounting is a tax you pay for being average. So the relational group did a study, and they asked CEOs how important their professional relationships were to their business success. And 89% said it was the most important factor to their success. Well, then they asked them, how many of you have a specific strategy to develop and strengthen those relationships, not only for the CEO, but for everyone in their company, for their account executives, for their support? And 5%. 90% say it's the most important thing, yet 5% say, you know, they actually have a strategy. So I'm going to share with you that strategy. Number 1, use technology to perform basic tasks, enabling your employees to focus on what's most important. Building relationships that result in higher customer loyalty, retention, lifetime value, and job satisfaction. Build a culture that creates emotional connections with your team members, and create relationship building training for new and existing employees. So that's what we're going to focus on for the remainder of this. The art of building relationships. We have to teach our kids, our existing employees, and our future generation how to build relationships. It's not their fault, okay? And we have to remind ourselves how to build relationships. So there's 5 things we need here. 1, we got to teach people how to be authentic. Number 2, got to teach people how to have insatiable curiosity. I'm going to go deeper in each one of these. How to have incredible empathy, must love people, and must be a great listener. Now, of those 5, I know for a fact 4 of them can be learned. Know that from having over 500 employees working for me, as well as my personal growth since I was very young. I do believe there's one that's hard to teach. Okay. Now I'm going to launch a poll, and you're going to get to pick which one you think is the most difficult to teach. And let me, oh, I'm sorry. Has that been sharing the whole time? I apologize. Okay. Vote on which is the one that's most difficult to train. All right. Share results. They all got a third. I'm gonna tell you, I believe it is must love people. I think all the training in the world I can't change. So there's some certain things in the book that tell you about how to have an interview process that doesn't allow employees to game the interview process, and you could really find out if they have a genuine love for others. So let's dive in. Must be authentic. Today, people have great BS detectors. Your interest in others must be genuine. Demonstrate no one cares about your client's business like you do. So I have a client that I worked with when they're CEO, and we went out to dinner, and we were talking, and somehow we got to talking about his banker. And he said this to me at dinner. He goes, I hope I die before my banker does. I'm like, what? Like, who says that? And he goes, my banker is so valuable, such a trusted advisor, that I wouldn't paint my walls orange or a different color at corporate headquarters without asking him first. And then he says, I'm pretty sure my banker doesn't know crap about wall color and interior design, but I know he knows someone that does. I was like, damn, like that's the trusted advisor I want to be. So I love to use this metaphoric bomb shelter. Okay. And if hopefully we, metaphorically, we have a personal and a professional one, right? Personal one is if we're going to be under attack, you're going to take your significant other, and on most days, all your kids, and we're going to go in there. And then we have as a CEO, your CEO clients, right? They have a professional bomb shelter. However, their professional bomb shelter could only seat 3 of their vendor partners. How sure are you that you have a spot in your CEO client's bomb shelter, right? And so this is how you become a partner they can't live without. Love what you do and make it obvious, right? We got to make sure our employees make it obvious. We got to make sure our employees love what they do. Your clients should never meet anyone smarter than you at what you do. Go ugly early. Be transparent. If you got bad news, you open up with that bad news. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't hope that it doesn't come up. You open up with what's wrong and then how we're going to fix it. Be a resource broker, meaning, you're the expert at what you do. I'm the expert at what I do. I'm a one-trick pony customer service, but my clients know should they need anything else, they can come to me and I will introduce them to the right people. Be as committed to the success as your client as they are. Know your client's top 3 goals for this year. And if you found out what they were in January, I promise you they've changed in the last 6 months. Educate versus sell. I love this. Okay. And the best companies do this. So, sometimes we turn away a sale because it's not what the client needs. We will get long-term lifetime value from that client because we were able to say, Abraham, I don't think you need that. I don't think it'll be a good investment. Here's what you do need, which is significantly less. Now, when you grow, when you get a chief experience, when you whatever, then let's talk about that. But I don't think that'd be a good investment, right? Now I own Abraham because it wasn't just about making the sale. Your customer should not be able to imagine a world without you and your business in it. Number 2, must have insatiable curiosity. I love that word. Dying to learn about others. Not only about subjects interest you, but subjects that aren't familiar. And I was the worst person. If you would have met me 30 years ago, and I only wanted to spend time with you if you could talk to me about my two subjects I enjoyed. I like customer service and I like baseball. And if you couldn't hold a conversation in those two topics, I tried everything I could not to spend significant, because you would bore me, right? I'm embarrassed of that. And, you know, what do you learn when you only talk about subjects that you like? I've learned it and have found and have become an investigative reporter. So I did a TED Talk called Meet as Strangers, Leave as Friends. It's 9 minutes and 31 seconds. I would Google it, watch it, show it to your employees, show it to your kids. And this is the crux of the book. Okay, it's chapter 5 in the book. Meet as strangers, leave as friends. There's not, I will argue, there's nothing more important in the world that any of us, our kids, our employees, can work at and improve on a daily basis that will have a bigger benefit to us personally and professionally than the ability to build an instant rapport with others, be it an acquaintance, friend, coworker, client, total stranger. Yet that's a hard thing to do, and it's not taught. It's not taught at home. It's not taught in school, and it's not taught in enough businesses. So how do we teach it? Well, the first thing we need to teach is everyone we come in contact with has an invisible sign above their head that says, make me feel important, right? Our children, our significant other, the UPS, Federal Expressman, our coworker, the newest employee. Stephen Covey said, people don't listen with the intent of understanding. They listen with the intent of replying. You guys agree with that? Well, the scientists studied the human brain and found that it took the human brain a minimum of 0.6 seconds to formulate a response to something said to it. Then they studied hundreds, thousands of conversations and found the average gap between people talking was 0.2 seconds. How are we responding in 1/3 the time our brain will allow us? Well, obviously, I have my answer ready minutes ago. I'm just waiting for you to come up for air so I can throw up on you, right? So what should we do when we talk to others?
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
Or listen. The greatest gift we can give anyone is the gift of our attention. Right? Write that down. That's so true, personally and professionally. And there's times where I'm coming home from work, from the airport, you know, got beat up by a customer, an employee, whatever the situation is, and I'll pull into my driveway, I'll pull into my garage, and I'll stay in the car for another 10 minutes with the car off, right? Because I can't give that gift to my family, right? So I'm not going to go in there until I'm ready. Same thing with going to work, same thing with picking up a phone and talking to my CEO client. So here is another poll. I want you to answer. How many of you are great at building an instant rapport with a total stranger? Vote yes or no. Good for the person that, 50% of you said you weren't. Congratulations. When I do this in a live audience, I have to count the number of hands that don't go up. Everyone's pretty confident that they can build an instant rapport. And I call BS, right? And here's why. In normal days, right? Networking party, conference, lunch, and you're meeting strangers and, you know, whatever you're at Starbucks. And you meet someone you've never met before. You see an old acquaintance that you start talking to, and you speak to them for 15, 20 minutes. Well, that doesn't mean you built a rapport. You could have been speaking to them about you for that 15 or 20 minutes. And that's a hard thing to fight. We are all pre-programmed to be consumed about our world, right? It's not a selfish thing, but it's my flight that gets delayed. It's my son that gets in trouble. It's my client that's upset with us. That's a hard thing to turn off. So here's what I ask anyone, myself, my employees, my 3 boys, anytime I see them talking to someone, all right, you have to know 2 or more things of the other person's forward. If you learn 2 or more things of the other person's forward during a 3-minute conversation or a 20-minute conversation, you not only built a relationship, you own the relationship. Because to each and every one of us, our own forward is our hot buttons. It's what we get excited. It's what we want to talk about. So family, right? Are they married? Do they have kids? How old are their kids? What activities are their kids in? Occupation, what do they do? Who do they do it for? How long they've been doing it? What's their title? Recreation, what do they like to do with their free times? Evenings, weekends. Are they runners? Do they coach a sport? You know, are they into a charity? And dreams. What's on their bucket list? What's their dream vacation? What's their encore career that they're working for? If you focus on other people and you teach your employees to focus on other people's, and there's ways to do it without sounding like you're interrogating, a lot of this comes up naturally. And we've built it into our CRM system. Every client we have is built into their own. Every CRM system is so you know, if I'm about to have a call, I can pull this up. My assistant may have found out information. It's an app. We have forward pads at our desk. Okay, even if it's your CRM system, it's the same thing you're seeing on the screen. You don't want to be typing it because you won't be able to keep up. And you might ask someone, and if you're typing it, and then you know you type it in, you're going to miss half the conversation. So you just write down notes. But this is what it looks like. At the top part, if I have a scheduled call with a client tomorrow, I do this. It pops up on my phone at 7 p.m. Look up, and so I'll prepare, and I'll go on LinkedIn. Right? See where they're from, where they graduated from. I'll look at our customer history, you know, to where, you know, anything we found out in the past. And then when I get the call, certain things, and you know, you don't have to ask, people overshare. And then there's a section that's a forward call to action. I can't tell you, every call I have, there's a forward call to action. And it might be like earlier, before I got on this podcast, every CEO tells me about this. They were telling me about a new client was telling me about how their business today isn't like it was, you know, 15, 20 years ago when they started. Now they're bigger, make more money. They have hundreds of employees, but all the old timers, the people that are complaining, yeah. And I said, I got a great article for you. And it's called Soul of a Startup. And it's a Harvard Business article. And I'll send it to them. It's all about, you know, when we started the business 20 years ago, and it was just the three of us. And we sat on the floor at 2 a.m. eating pizza out of a box, trying to figure out how we're going to keep our doors open. But there's almost not a topic that can't come up that I can't send you a link to an article. Someone might be saying they're running their first marathon. I'll send them, you know, how to train for your first marathon. So that's the forward call to action. Ever bought a new car so excited because you've never seen it in that color before until an hour later? What do you see, right? 6 of them. Well, did 6 other people go out today and buy that same color? No. The difference is your mind is now primed to see what's always been there. That's what good forward tools do. You hear things you don't normally hear.
This is an awareness test. How many passes does the team in white make?
Go!
The answer is 13. But did you see the moonwalking bear?
It's easy to miss something you're not looking for. I love that video. Trust me, the moonwalking bear was there the first time. I've seen it 2,000 times. Here's another video, it's really quick, that it should be all of us at the end of the day when someone comes and asks us about our day.
David, Smith.
Nancy Andrews.
Yep. What are you up to these days?
I'm married. I've got 2 great kids. You want to see their pictures?
Yes. Wow.
How about you?
Married, no kids yet, work for Southern Community Bank, bunch of great customers. Want to see their pictures?
Sure.
This is Alice. She owns a shoe store. This is Kevin. He's saving to buy a house.
Love that. All right, number 3, must have incredible empathy. When we listen and think from the other person's point of view, their message becomes much clearer. When we understand the customer's plight and the importance of every interaction becomes crystal clear. And don't share how you can help them before you find out what their wants and needs are. So there's 5 key reasons why our employees, sometimes us, can have a lack of empathy. Number 1, employees don't know what world-class is, right? Think about it. I don't know about you guys, but I didn't grow up staying in 5-star resorts, flying first class, driving a Mercedes-Benz. But the first job I ever got, and every job after that, I was expected to deliver world-class customer service. And I didn't know what world-class customer service was. The second one is employees are not your customer. If you think about most customer-facing employees, they're not typically the same age, demographics, income level of their customers. All right. A lot of businesses will have 20-something serving 40 to 50-year-olds. There's a huge disconnect. At 25, I don't know what it's like to be a 50-year-old male, female, where 24 hours enough time in the day, 36 hours enough time in the day, and all the demands and stress coming. Employers are not looking at it from the customer's perspective. We sometimes, pound our chest because we're the best in our industry. And that may be true, but it's kind of irrelevant, right? Depending on our business, most businesses, my first business is a hair salon. If Claudia comes and gets her haircut today at my salon, she then doesn't leave and go across the street to my nearest competitor to compare. She doesn't need hair services for a few weeks or a few months. So where does Claudia go? She might go meet her girlfriend for lunch. She might have a dentist appointment. She might have to go shopping. And that's what she's comparing. Same thing in all of our businesses. It's irrelevant how we are in our industry because our clients usually aren't, shopping our competitors. And we become numb. And numb means that, we just start looking at our clients, the 10:30, our third one of the day, our 8th last one, our 12 o'clock Zoom call, our, workshop in Nashville, whatever that may be. And it's a very dangerous thing. We got to make sure. The pandemic, this is important. The pandemic has, and you've known people in your life, family, friends, employees that have lost their mind during the pandemic. And a lot of times reasonable people, right? Reasonably positive people have just gone off the deep end. Okay. And even me, I'm surprised because, I know it's stressful, but I can't believe how many people are just, really all over the scale and are living an emotional roller coaster. And here's why. The number 1 reason people have anxiety is because of uncertainty. And the pandemic is nothing but uncertainty. No one can say, well, October 1st, we don't see light at the end of the tunnel. We don't know when business, social, everything's going to resume. We don't know if our jobs are going to get cut, if our business is going to go out of business. We don't know anything, if our kids are going to go back to school. And it is causing stress, right? So predictability eases anxiety. Never leave your customers in the dark or your employees about anything, okay? And here's a really funny thing about anxiety. They did a test, okay? Humans prefer certainty to uncertainty. There was a study taken where they asked a group of people, right? Would you rather definitely get an electric shock now or maybe get an electric shock in the next 20 minutes? And the majority preferred to get the electric shock now and be done with it than have the chance. That's crazy. Right? That is crazy. But people prefer bad certainty to uncertainty. So we got to remember that when we're building our business models now. Must love people. You want people, that are willing to talk to the person sitting next to them on the bus. Everyone has a story. And in order to truly serve people, you must love people. People don't remember what you said as much as how you made them feel. Okay? If you're old enough, you might remember a movie that made this quote famous, The ABCs of Business. Anybody ever see the movie Glenn Ross, Glenn Gary? If you haven't, you need to watch a huge cast. But this scene is what made this ABC famous.
A, B, C. Ain't always B, B, C closing. Always be closing. Always be closing.
So if you ask 100 people in the US what the ABC of business is, they will tell you always be closing. Well, that's no more. Now it's always be connecting. Okay, we got to teach our employees to stop networking and start building social capital. Networking is asking, it's taking. Social capital is giving. And I love what Tony Hsieh, CEO of Zappos, says. Stop trying to network in the traditional business sense, and instead just try to build up the number and depths of our friendship, where friendship itself, it's its own reward. All right, I want to jump to number 5, must be a great listener. And I thought I was a decent listener until I did my research for my book for the last 3 years. And man, I suck at listening, okay? Fierce attention. This is how they define fierce attention. If you ask a question and don't ask 2 to 3 follow-up questions, odds are you weren't listening. So you should have we should have a 4-to-1 ratio of questions asked versus answered when we're having conversations. And this is one of the hardest things. Don't defend your ideas, explore new ones, right? You want to talk about politics, you want to talk about the pandemic, man, someone's politics doesn't bother me. It's the way they are so upset or angry and they're not willing to have a discussion. Same thing with the pandemic and all the things and the reasons behind it and conspiracy theories, anything. I try to don't defend. Don't be like, oh, wait, Claudia. No. Just explore why she thinks the way she does. And maybe she has some good facts. Can you keep quiet longer than 18 seconds? They say the average doctor interrupts their patient within 18 seconds. Why? Because the doctor knows, there's pretty much, they've not heard anything new, right? Abraham comes in and he says, listen, I've been playing tennis a lot and my knee's swelling up. Whoa, Abraham, I know what you got, right? You got 10 minutes, here's what you need to do. And you interrupt him. You want to help him. You want to solve the solution. Well, I start thinking about that, and I do that all the time, right? I get people come up to me after I speak and they say, I want to tell you about a situation. And when people tell me about a situation at work, it's never a situation I haven't heard of. And they're going into a lot. I know what you need. Here's the answer. And I guarantee every professional expert does that because we are experts. And we typically, don't get thrown anything brand new that we've never heard of if we've been doing it long enough. But that's one of the rudest things we can do. We got to let people be heard. You can't be listening if you're talking. One of the myths of being a great listener is being a sponge. They say that's actually being a bad listener. A sponge is somebody who just lets the other person talk, and once in a while, I'll throw an aha. They say that's a bad listener. Don't be a sponge, be a trampoline. And that goes back to that 4-to-1 ratio where, Abraham's telling me about his vacation or he's telling me about his new hobby and I'm asking more. Why? I'm asking clarifying questions. I'm heightening his energy and the depth that we're going. So I want to share some conversation nevers and always. Some of them are obvious, but they're hard. Never multitask. Never ask a question because you're dying to answer it yourself. Never finish the other person's sentences. Never steal their thunder. Stealing their thunder might be an employee comes up and you found out they went on vacation last week and you say, where did you go? And she said, oh, me and my husband went to Hawaii for the first time. And I might interrupt and say, oh my God, I have a condo in Hawaii, right? Thinking I'm making a connection, but I just stole her thunder. Like, what could she tell me about Hawaii, versus shutting up and just ask her about her trip. Never share your accolades. Let people ask about them. Conversations always. Remove technology, distractions, close the door, close your laptop when someone wants to meet with you. Demonstrate your full attentions on the other person. Listen with your eyes. Listen with your eyes. Be an active listener, ask probing questions and follow-up questions, ask clarifying questions. Why? Tell me more. Can you give me an example? What does that look like? Show patience and support in a non-judgmental way. Show empathy and support in a non-judgmental way. Show patience, let the other person finish their thought, feel heard, wait 2 seconds before responding, make the person feel the centerpiece, they are the centerpiece, be in learning mode. Everyone has something to teach, collect forward and document for future use, and commit to a follow-up. When it's called for, an action plan in a specific amount of time. All right, I am gonna jump to here and I can take questions, throw it back to Abraham.
Okay, well, that was awesome. It was very entertaining. I loved it. And we're gonna open it up. People, Chris, you there?
I'm here.
Hey man, let's hear what you have to say about all this. Some feedback here.
It's reassuring to hear some of the things that you've just discussed that we employ here at Cambria, right? So for those that aren't familiar with the company that I work for, we're a manufacturer of quartz surfaces. I'll leave it at that. What our owner is very adamant about is relationships. And when you call into our contact center here, it is a very short greeting, and then you're piped right to a human being. Why? Because he understands the value of a human conversation versus an IVR, right? Every one of us have been in, press 1 for sales, press 2 for this, and you're like, oh my God, get me to a human being, right? We've all been there. And he's been there too, and he doesn't care for it. So that human interaction is what we drive for here. And it's great to see, again, the validation of that. And it's shocking how simple of a concept that is to me, but where so many other businesses out there have traded the technological efficiencies for the human interaction. And they've lost that touch point, giving us an edge. And I love that, right? It's like I said, it's a if you're not willing to do it, we sure are. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that HR should be changed from human resources to human relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some titles change from, director of HR or whatever it is to CEXO, Chief Employee Experience Officer. And I love that title.
Yeah, I changed CEO to Chief Example Officer.
Love it.
Because that's really, and everyone in the company can be a CEO. That's
right.
the point, of being a real CEO, a real leader. Leadership is like what Shane says, inspiring the hearts and minds of people. And so everyone can be a CEO. Claudia, what'd you get out of all this? We'd love to hear what you have to say.
First, thank you so much for your knowledge. It was very, very, very interesting. And first, I'm not confused. I understand everything, and I think it's really important to hiring people and to teach a lot of the philosophy of the company. But at the same time, I think not all the people can make a good customer service. Sometimes at the first time, you cannot have the feeling about this is good or not good for the customer service. But I think it's really important. And the another one that is really, really good is about the pandemic, because yes, the anxiety, a lot not to know about in the future, it make a lot of stress in the people. But I think it's almost like a habit. We are a social animal. I don't want to use this word, but I think it's almost like a habit. When we cannot make the same situation all the days, it's almost like, oh my God, what is the next day? What happened? For example, today I went with my children in McDonald's, and it's completely different, the customer service, because it's not about the contact, it's about all the people with the mask on and everything. And was, I don't know, uncertain. And I think we have to learn about all this opportunity to make a new customer service, I think.
Yep, beautiful. Moshe, you got something to say? Moshe? You gotta unmute yourself there, Moshe.
Yeah.
Still gotta mute yourself.
Still,
Hey,
Moshe, you're muted.
Yeah, you gotta unmute yourself there, Moshe. There you go.
John, where were you when I was just starting out in business? I had to learn all this the hard way.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
But seriously, I think the listening part is important. I like to talk about Zappos and how they focus on making 2 attempts every phone call to turn the phone call, to make it a personal relationship. And they don't measure you on time. Chris was talking about that, how you have to build the relationship with the customer. And their longest phone call is over 10 hours, and they're proud of it. On the other hand, I'm not sure about the first quiz, hiring versus training. I was sure, now I'm not sure. I was sure that it was hire. Now I'm not sure. Kip Tyndall used to say, 1 equals 3. You hire the great employee and it's worth 3 good employees. In your second poll, you talked about how we have to love people. So you want to hire somebody who really loves people. And I guess what you're saying is it's not enough to love people. You also have to train them. Which Kip does.
There was no wrong answer on that first one. It's 51% to 49, right? And
right.
And I again go back to the diet of physical fitness. I think most experts, and I'm not an expert, would say at least 51% of it is your diet, right? I mean, you know, you can't, especially once you get out of your 20s, we can't outwork a bad diet, right? So it's just like that. It's so close. There's no wrong answer. I'm saying both are critical, but the best companies have that type of training that make you a rock star.
That makes sense.
They leverage it, I think.
Yeah.
You need to have a good core. If you don't have a good core, I don't think you can train a person 500 hours a year and it isn't going to help. But if you have that good core, then the extra training will make them great.
Right.
And I agree with that totally. You start with the good people, but you can't stop there. You have to continue and train them.
Beautiful. Shachar, you have something to say?
Well, there was the part where you talked about being empathic and first see the situation from your client's eyes. And I was giving service to Intel when I was in the semiconductors industry. And Intel is a very, very hard client. And it really helped me, now that I recall, it really helped me to try and think from their point of view and understand why they're expecting so much from me as the vendor. And yeah, I can really relate to that. It really helped me. It's actually also good to practice humility, with meaning you surrender yourself to listening and to feeling what they feel and what they think, and that's actually not letting your ego step in, and makes your life a lot easier.
Nice, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, John has a bunch of stuff for you. And usually what happens is that, you know, you only want to, the rule of thumb in marketing is you just give one click and then that's it. But, you know, John just, you know, he's an over deliverer. He just can't help it. And he's got lots of wonderful stuff for you. So there's those links, be sure to click on it. He's got some free training that's happening there. He has a fantastic newsletter. He has an event coming up. Usually that event is live that he does. In fact, when we did this, we did a CX Success Summit before. That was like, what was it, like $2,000 to go to that? And that was his event. We actually gave away a ticket to that. He was nice enough to give us a ticket. So this one coming up, it'll be a lot less for that, but there's going to be tremendous value that's going to be given. So those of you who are watching the replay right now, I want to recommend that I'm going to put all those links. You'll get these links. Click on those links and make sure to take advantage of all these things that John has for you, because as you can hear from the webinar, that he's spent a lot of time in researching, and you can see that really that he's bringing the human, you know, back into the business instead of these, you know, the answering machines, and actually, you know, these very impersonal types of experiences that we're all encountering now because of companies. They think that they're trying to, you know, make it easier for everybody. But, you know, I'll give you just a quick example. My daughter was in quarantine, and you know, all of a sudden, you know, when she got out of quarantine, she was off her computer and she was going out with friends and doing all kinds of things. So what happened? She says, you know, that quarantine taught me a big lesson. She says, I don't want all this other stuff. She says, I just want to be with people now. You know, I want to be with my friends. I want to talk to people, not talk to some screen and be on there. So I think that, you know, we're circling back to humanity now, you know, where the technology isn't really helping us. So folks, you see there's these links here, and again, don't worry about it. We're going to send you those links in the emails for the follow-up, so you make it very simple for you. Just click on those things. If you have any questions whatsoever, you know, feel free. I'm sure John, you can see he's a real person here. He's not trying to be anything more than himself, and he wants to build a relationship with you. So feel free to reach out. I mean, I'm inviting people to you, John. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and also for all of us here, myself as well, if you have any questions, we're just here to help. That's the whole idea of all these things that we're bringing to you. And that's why I've been working hard to try to find different people to bring to you, so you'll be able to do a better job out there. And what's very important is that we're just trying to make the world a great place to do business with. Wherever you go in a place that you can actually, like what John says, is that, you know, feel that you're important, and you are. All you people out there, you're important just like everybody else. So John, I want to thank you so much. Is there anything you want to add?
No, it was a pleasure. You know, I look forward to hearing your success stories. And Abraham, thanks for having me back.
Oh, you're always welcome. Anytime you want to come on board, and you know, we're all, like I said, we don't call these Zoom. It's like a family meeting. You know, the meeting room. We get together, people come on board, and we get a nice family feeling. And it's not a webinar. You know, it's like a family meeting room. So We'll have more stuff coming out. We have another webinar next week as usual, and we'll have some more value that we're sending your way. But be on the lookout, please, people. Be on the lookout for those emails that we're going to be sending to you. That's going to have the replay as well as the links to those things that John has for you. Okay, thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.